Today, but dang, do we have a good show for you. We're going to make up for all the technology craziness right here. Today, we are talking all about cosplay. I'm so excited because we have some incredible special guests who are joining us today in costume, much like me, and we are going to hang out and have all of the fun. But before we get there, we do have some breaking Toon World news. So here is the deal. We have a couple of new announcements inside of the Toon World that just came out in the last couple of days. The first one I am so excited about. My Dear Cold-Blooded King is returning with their new season on April 19th. I've been waiting and waiting and waiting. I'm so excited that this one is coming back in April. It's not that far off. So if you guys are excited, let me know. Let me know in the comments that you are excited for this show to be returning. And in other good news, Age Matters comes back in May. This was just announced, I think, yesterday, and we are so excited to see what happens, especially after that cliffhanger of an ending. So if you guys are fans, let me know which of these you are most excited for as we are hanging out, talking all about cosplay. We are attempting to make sure we are on the correct channel because we are, again, having some technical difficulties, so we're just going to run with this today. And we are hanging out talking with some amazing cosplayers. And if you are somebody who knows all of the news when it comes to the Toon World, we need to hear from you today. I am looking for reporters. I'm looking for content creators. I'm looking for marketing people to come help us get the platform out to the public and doing some really cool things, because the more people we get, the cooler things we can do and the more amazing authors we can bring on. In fact, last week we had Leanne Krasik. She's the author of Let's Play. The weekend before we had Ingrid Achova, author of The Kiss Bet, and we've had so much fun hanging out, talking with these amazing artists. It is going to be good because we've got some really cool people coming up on the show as well. And I am so excited for you guys to be joining us as we continue the Toon Ladies Talk Show. All right. Tiffy Hut, would you please let me know that I really am on the Toon Ladies platform and not somewhere else? Please drop that in the comments for me. We did have some cool people hanging out with us this week, leaving some love here on our YouTube page. Lisa says, love Let's Play and absolutely love Murder Mysteries. She was referring to last week's episode with Leanne Krasik of Let's Play. Girl, us too. And we're super excited that you are here joining us as well. Thank you so much, Tiffy. I appreciate you in the comments there. We also had Isabel hang out. She loves Casual Charles. Girl, we do too. Leaving some love on our 5 best Toon guy hairstyles video that came out recently on the channel. People were loving on Ingrid Ochoa's episode. We had lots of love for the Charm Ship over in Let's Play this week. More love for Charles because we can't help but talk about this man inside of Let's Play. Guys, let us know. Who is your best ship in Let's Play? I want to hear from you guys. Hit us up in the comments down below. Lucy hung out and said, Pommy is so freaking adorable. I agree. If you guys are fans of Pommy from Age Matters, go ahead and let us know. Mistress Anime said, OMG, I picked my top 5 before I watched, and you touched on 4 of them. So excited to hear that. Guys, come on over and check out our best guy fashion video and let us know if we touched on your favorites as well. She also had some love for clothes outfits over in the best girl fashion video that we dropped earlier this week as well. Dina dropped by and said, this is so cute. Yes, we had a great time hanging out with Ingrid Ochoa, and I'm glad that you were able to watch. Toon Ladies, yes, and are you going to do one on the Sub-Zero? Hey, you asked, we answered. Stay tuned, Chloe, because we are going to be dropping some more Sub-Zero content soon. Sarah hung out and was loving on my Toon boyfriend, Ryasaki. I agree. Moving on. The Angry Dorito hung out and said, I love Ingrid. The Kiss Bet is literally one of my favorite webtoons, and seeing her as a person is the cutest, sweetest thing ever. Yes, I agree. We loved hanging out with Ingrid, and we cannot wait to have her back on the show. Sarah and Janelle hung out and said, this is so cool. And Tammy said, Ingrid is the best. I love her so much. If you guys want to be featured next week, go ahead and let us know by leaving some comment love on our videos. So right now you're hanging out in chat with us. We need to hear from you in the comments as well. So head over to some of our videos and leave us some comment love, especially on this video right now. It's below the screen. All right. In news this week, we are talking all about cosplay. And just a quick shout out because Webtoon Official featured someone earlier this week. You guys did not check that out. Make sure you head on over there as well. All right. We are about to jump into our conversation with our amazing cosplayers who are waiting in the wings. We've got some cool things happening for you guys this week. We dropped some great videos. We want to make sure you are checking those out. If you guys did not listen to our podcast, which drops every single Thursday, make sure you are heading over there. Kayla Oliver, who is the author of The Wolfman of Wolvershire, hung out with us to talk to us all about what it's like to become a Webtoon original. And it was a really fun, really great conversation, so I hope you will hang out over there. She's got a great accent. Make sure you guys come and join us for the podcast as well, and give us all the love over on the podcast as well. All right, are you guys ready? We're jumping in. We're talking cosplay. I am dressed in my beautiful red and gold. I am Karis from Sub-Zero, and I am super excited because we are joined by some amazing cosplayers today. We're going to pull them up one at a time and introduce you, talk a little bit about what they're dressed as, and then we're going to dive into our conversation. So first up, we are going to be hanging out with Kelly Carnes. She is the owner of Trove Costumes. Kelly, how are you?
Hi, I'm fine. Thanks, and thanks for having me, KM. Always a pleasure.
I am so excited to hang out. You and I are dear friends. We met at MerMagicCon 2 years ago. Got to hang out a little bit this year as well. We actually did New York Comic Con together last fall, which was so much fun. And today, you are dressed as Sam from Let's Play in her video game version. And I'm really excited because that's your actual hair.
It is. I have to say, this is a very loose interpretation of Sam. I am somewhat uninitiated in the world of Webtoons, so I'm catching up myself. I only recently became Webtoon savvy-ish when my good friend Vale Henry started her own Webtoon 70% Love. So I am new to the scene. I'm learning all about Sam and her wild mage self. So since I had the green hair, I thought I could channel her a little bit more naturally. And now I need to find myself a purple hat because this green hat it's not going to do.
I love it though. And I also didn't know you had a friend who did Webtoons, so we need to talk about this after.
Yeah, girl.
This is awesome. All right. This is fantastic. And you actually own Trove Costumes, which we're going to talk about at the end of today's episode. But like real quick, 10-second highlight reel. What is Trove?
Sure. Yeah, Trove Costumes just launched this year. It's a brand new platform designed for peer-to-peer costume rental. So what that means is it functions a lot like Airbnb does, where people can exchange goods, meaning that you can rent out the costumes you're not wearing, make some coin, and then you can also create access for other people who want to wear amazing things but can get them a lot cheaper by renting them versus buying them.
Which I love. I'm so excited for this. We're going to be chatting a little bit more about that later, and we're going to be chatting with you in just a second. We're going to pull up our next cosplayer, but we'll see you in just a second, Kelly.
Thanks.
All right, next up, we are going to be hanging out with the amazing Foxplay Cosplay. Hey, girl, how are you?
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm Foxplay, and I'm dressed as Persephone from Lore Olympus. It's my absolute favorite webtoon. Like, I am so obsessed with it. I've always loved Greek mythology, and this like brings a whole new dimension to it. And I'm over the moon about it. I think it's amazing.
I am an author, and I am all about retelling. So the second I found out we had a Greek mythology retelling, I was like, let me read this. This was actually my introduction to the webtoon world. So I'm really excited that you are here dressed as Persephone. We're going to talk a little bit more about what you do within the cosplay world in just a minute. But thanks so much. We're going to pull you back up in just a moment.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right, next up, we are hanging out with Torie Dunn, and Torie is dressed as Emma from My Deepest Secret. Torie, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, I am excited to see you there. I love that you've got your apron. I love that you've got your hair. This is fantastic. I'm really excited to see you. For those of you that don't know, Torie and I have a special little connection. We've known each other for many, 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 many years, and we might kind of look alike, maybe for a reason. I don't know.
I wouldn't know either.
Not a clue. All right. I'm excited to dive into today's conversation. We are going to pull the other girls back up, and we are going to start talking about the fabulous world of cosplay. If you're joining us live, we want to hear from you. Go ahead and drop us your questions and comments down below. We'd love to get those answered for you guys today. And if you're on our replay, we want to hear from you too. Go ahead and drop your questions, your comments, and if they're really good, but we didn't get them answered on air, we might just be able to convince these ladies to come back and get those answered for you. So we're going to be monitoring those. Hit us up in the comments down below. All right, ladies, we're going to dive into our conversation all about cosplay. And the very first thing I need to know is why each of you is a fan of cosplay. So, Kelly, let's dive in and ask you first.
Cosplay brings me so much joy. I was always that kid that was hyper about Halloween all year round and taking out Halloween decorations and costumes in like August and driving my parents crazy. So when I grew up and I realized that there were actually opportunities to dress up all year round, from Renaissance fairs to conventions to themed parties, it was like unleashing the beast. And there was no stopping me after that. So I've probably been cosplaying for about the last 10 years or so. I really started at the Ren Fair and throwing big epic Halloween parties every year. And then I got initiated into Dragon Con and convention culture and started going to Awesome Con and Otakon and Katsucon and Comic Con, and really just, I can't drink enough of the Kool-Aid. It brings me joy, I think, because I love to be a big ham. I love to step outside of myself. I love to play really badass ladies. I know that shocks you, but I think imbuing myself with their characteristics makes me feel even stronger and just more unstoppable when I can take on the values and the strength and the brass and the sass of all of these really amazing characters that have been created. I actually don't fancy myself as a creative person. I fancy myself as a good curator. So I'm always intrigued by the other stuff that people can create that's brand new, whether it be characters or costumes, and getting to have a connection to that makes me feel connected to the creative spirit. So it's a little bit escapism. It's a little bit embodying bold characters. It's a little bit of kind of creative osmosis, if I can transmit any of that to myself. It's a lot of things. And then it's also just the opportunity to connect with other crazy weirdos, which is so much fun. Being a part of this community is a never-ending stream of surprises and serendipity.
That was an amazing way to put it. I love that. Foxplay, tell us a little bit about why you got into cosplay and why you love it so much.
Well, I got into cosplay when I was in high school. We were just a group of high school kids who had no money, who had heard of this thing called cosplay and conventions. And we all liked anime and manga, and we had dreamed of doing it. So we like hoarded our money all school year and threw it together and begged our parents to bring us. And that started a chain of events that I never knew would last me into my mid-20s of dressing up like cartoon characters. But here we are. I love cosplay because you can go to a convention and not feel like you're the odd one out in the room or that you're different, and you just feel like you belong and that, you know, all these people have the same interests and you feel at home and appreciated, and it's just wonderful. And I love that sense of community that comes with it and the friendships that are made. And I also love the confidence that being in a costume gives me. I'm usually a shy person and I have a lot of trouble, you know, talking up or, you know, speaking my mind a lot of times. But when I'm in costume, I can be that person that, you know, says what's on their mind and really embody the character and have the confidence to go places and do things and just do all the things that I wouldn't normally do. So I really appreciate that aspect of cosplaying and the convention world.
I love that. I love that. Torie, what do you think? Why do you love cosplaying?
So I love cosplay. I've been watching anime for about a few years now, and I'm kind of like a loner kind of person, and I didn't really start getting into cosplay till this past year. But every Halloween, I always love dressing up. Like, Halloween is my favorite time of year, so dressing up is my thing. And so when I found out about cosplaying, thanks to a little app I call TikTok, I really got into it. And this wig was actually one of the first wigs I bought. So I was really proud of myself. And it was mostly anime based. Like, this is my first webtoon based cosplay that I have. I also went to my first convention in August. I went to Fan Expo Boston. And it was so much fun. I went with one of my friends, and I had never had so much more fun in my life. Like, I saw these characters that I've seen in different animes and different shows and all this stuff, and it was wild. It was so cool, and just dressing up and feeling like a different person is the best thing in the world, especially since I am a fellow writer. I love embodying characters, like they said as well, and so it's just, I love it.
I feel like as somebody in the author world, we do get fans dressing up like our characters, but not nearly as much as the art world. So I kind of love that it's more prevalent in this particular area, and I can do it more without feeling like nobody else is doing it. So I kind of love that it's built this community around what everyone is doing, and it's so much fun. And I have to ask, ladies, who is your all-time favorite character to cosplay? Kelly?
That's like asking who our favorite child is. I think my go-to answer is sort of my first high-quality cosplay. It was my Poison Ivy that I wore to Dragon Con in 2014. And that's because it's kind of like my gateway cosplay. It's the first one I really dropped like adult coin on. And the result was so much more validating and so much more fun to wear. And I got so much more appreciation from people who really liked it, that's when I was like, okay, this is my drug and I'm addicted. It's done. Like, I'm done.
That's so funny. I love it.
Got me. Mm-hmm.
Once it gets its hooks into you, that's it. That's it. Foxplay, what do you think?
Definitely Bulma Briefs from Dragon Ball Z. I'm obsessed with her character, and it's one of my favorite series. So whenever I put her costume on or dress up like her, like, I just feel so great and I feel so confident, and I love to dress up as her. And she has like a ton of outfits, and I love that.
That's always nice when you can like be the same character but switch up the outfits. I feel like that's kind of a bonus, right?
Yeah.
Torie, how about you? Who's your all-time favorite to dress up as?
So this wasn't my first cosplay, but my second full cosplay I got was Bakugo Katsuki from the anime My Hero Academia, which is actually where this wig was from. I did a gender bent version of him, so his outfit is more feminine than the normal one. So instead of like his normal like tank top, it's a crop top that I made myself. Most of the costume I had to make myself, so I'm really proud every time I wear it, and that's just got to be my favorite one to wear.
That's awesome. I love it. We do have a question for you, Foxplay. How did you get your body paint so even? What do you use?
So I'm actually a professional face and body painter. So I tried out a bunch of different methods of face paint for the Lore Olympus cosplays. So I use two types mainly. I use a water-based paint, and then I use an alcohol-based paint if I'm going to be at a convention or somewhere where I don't need it, like I don't want to sweat and I don't want it to run. Alcohol-based paints for like conventions and long wear, they are called Pro Air, and you can put them on with a paintbrush, or if you have an airbrush, you can use that. If you are in the sun, they do tend to fade color-wise, but other than that, like if you sweat, they'll stay on, you're golden. And if you touch things around like a convention or an area, it will not come off. For like little in-house things, I'll use a water-based paint because it's easier to get off. And then I use a brand called Fab paints. They're a professional grade hypoallergenic face paint, and I just put those on with a makeup sponge, and then I'll put a loose translucent powder on top of it to keep it set. And I also, like, if I'm doing Persephone, I'll take like a pink blush and I'll just go over it with that color. Or like if I was cosplaying Hera, for example, who is yellow, I'd see if I could find like a yellow eyeshadow or highlighter to just kind of set that color in.
Wow, that makes a lot of sense. That's awesome. I feel like I'm learning things. This is a good thing. I have not really done the body paint thing yet, so we might have to connect later because I feel like that could be a fun podcast episode. Let us know, guys. Let us know, guys, if you would like to see this as a podcast episode. Hit us up in the comments down below. Now, before we move on, before we are asking more questions and talking more about the fabulous world of cosplay, there is a Toon Ladies tradition that we do every single episode, and the time is now. If you are joining us live from the replay, we need you to get your phones ready, okay? Phones up. We are going to be taking a picture in just a minute, and we want you to make sure that you are putting this out on Instagram stories. You can put it in your main feed. You can put it over on Facebook, wherever you want to shout this out. But we want you to let people know that you are here hanging out with Toon Ladies today. So in just a second, we're all going to smile at the camera for 30 whole seconds, and I want you to either snap a picture on your phone So screenshot that, or if you're watching on your computer, pick up your phone and just kind of take a picture of your computer and then tag us in it. So are you guys ready? Are you ready? Get your phones ready. Ladies on my screen, looking straight at your cameras. And we are, Kelly's ready. She's like, I'm going to do this too. I love it. I love it. All right. Smiling, and we're going to go 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to wait for 3, and we're going to take it. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. All right, guys. Get your pictures up. We want to see those. Make sure you are tagging at Toon Ladies and tagging all of us as we are hanging out, talking all about the cosplay love today. All right, ladies, we're going to take a little bit of a side road on this one. I want to talk about our biggest cosplay fails and successes. So I feel like fails are a little bit more on the fun side. Let's start there. Foxplay, let's start with you. What is your biggest fail, and maybe what did you learn from it?
I would say my biggest fail in cosplay is not pacing myself if I'm making a costume, and if I am making a costume, not following proper safety protocol. Most of my costumes that I wear, I make myself, and I am a big victim of con crunch. I like to try and cram everything in the night before, and that is not a fun thing to do when you're up at like 5 a.m. the night before a convention. So over the years, I've definitely learned how to pace myself, and make sure that I'm doing things in a timely manner. Also, cosplay safety. There's a lot of things that you don't think about. I've glued my fingers together more times than I can count. And, like I've spray painted indoors and all kinds of stuff. And it's just a lot of trial and error. But definitely, if you're going to make handmade costumes, or if you're going to cosplay in general, just make sure you're following proper safety protocol. If you're unsure about something, look it up. Definitely.
That is sound advice. And Kelly, I see you brought props. So does this have to do with your biggest cosplay fail? Do tell.
It does. Why you gotta do me like this, Cam?
I have to. I have to.
All right. Time to air my dirty laundry. Last year at DragonCon, I was so excited about cosplaying Catra from She-Ra. I love the new Catra. And I was joining this group. A bunch of our friends that were coming together were all doing a group cosplay. Even my husband put on a big inflatable unicorn with rainbow wings, and he was Swiftwind. It was amazing. And so it hinged on us being a really successful group together. And I didn't try on my suit before I left. I had it made for me, and I sent them my measurements. It was supposed to be custom made. But didn't try it on before I left. And so I didn't realize that I couldn't actually fit my feet through the legs. So I had to, and I didn't bring scissors with me. So that day I had to take toenail clippers and like slice open the bottom of these leggings.
Wow.
Just so that I could like fit them over my little shoes, which was really embarrassing. And then on top of that, I'd also somehow forgotten to pack my contacts and my fangs. So like critical to the diagnostic look of Catra. She didn't have teeth. She didn't have a yellow eye. I was embarrassed to be around all these other cosplayers. I was searching the vendor hall for people with colored contacts. So it was it was not my greatest moment. I definitely learned to try everything on before I leave, and then actually make a packing list and check it twice before I go to the airport. But I do blame it on the fact that we were launching Trove at DragonCon, so there was a lot going on, and I had a whole like staff there with me that I needed to manage. We had thousands of pieces of swag that we had to drive all the way from DC in 2 cars. There was a lot, so I'm trying to forgive myself. I've rebuilt Catra with a new designer. I've got 2 sets of colored contacts right now, so I've got one in reserve, and my teeth ready to go in my travel bag already. So it's in my go bag. I'm ready to catch her anytime. I'm gonna redeem myself.
That's amazing. I love it. I love it. And I've actually seen your fangs. Those are pretty dang cool.
They are. You want me to get them?
Yes.
I'm going to put them in. I'll be right back.
Do it. Oh, so she actually got those while we were at New York Comic Con. I was there signing books, and she was there for a day. So we got to hang out for an hour or two and walk around the con, and she walked up to me with fangs. It was kind of amazing. Torie, let's take a look at you. You recently got into cosplaying. So have you had any big fails yet?
Not really, although I do, if anybody knows the character, my first full cosplay I'd ever gotten was Elizabeth Leones from the Seven Deadly Sins. That was the first full cosplay I'd ever got. And if you don't know who the character is, I highly suggest you look it up. But she wears a skirt, and the skirt's really, really short. And that ended up being the cosplay I wore to Fan Expo. And I am so glad I wore something underneath it because you could basically see the entire time. My friend kept like walking behind me, but thank goodness there were other people dressed in worse stuff. They're not like bad, but like more revealing stuff than me. So I felt a little better, but at the same time I was like, oh goodness, kept like trying to pull it down, pull it down. It was like, I love her, I love the character, but I probably won't wear that in public again.
Maybe that's more for photos. Sometimes I feel like this is something that I've learned as well. Sometimes there are outfits and costumes that are best left to photo shoots and not to go out in public. So I definitely agree with you there. While we're still talking about you, Torie, let's switch gears just a little bit and talk about your biggest cosplay success.
So my biggest success, I would say, is so I bought an entire Bakugo cosplay. I think it was about for everything, and that included gauntlets and everything, gloves. It just didn't include shoes and a wig. I bought this wig separately, so it was about $100 altogether, which is a pretty good price for a good quality cosplay. But like I said before, I was looking for more on the feminine side, and so when making the shirt, I actually had my employer actually gave me a black T-shirt to use, and it unfortunately had where I work's logo on it, so I was able to sew a pocket on it, and you can't even see it. And I was able to crop top it and take the X, the iconic orange X, off the shirt that I originally got for the costume. Was able to sew it back onto it. I think that was one of the biggest things, and I was able to adjust everything else to my body type, and the full cosplay looks so amazing. Like, I'm so proud of myself.
That's awesome. I love it. All right, Foxplay, let's talk to you. What is your all-time biggest cosplay success?
I would definitely say my Genji costume from Kokorio, Bed and Breakfast for Spirits. It's a really intense traditional Japanese costume that has a lot of layers, and he's a nine-tailed fox, so I had to make 9 tails. I couldn't just not do it. I was like, I gotta go big or go home. So I ended up making it was like a belt harness that went around my waist, that had a wooden plate in the back and metal wires that stuck out, 9 of them. And I made 9 tails that successfully like wrapped around, and it came out really pretty. And I made the matching ears, and I made the traditional outfit that went with it. And I just felt really accomplished. That's my costume that like I adore it, and I feel like the work that I put into it really paid off, and I just really like foxes a lot.
Speaking of liking foxes a lot, this is a shameless plug for next week's episode. We're actually going to be hanging out with Lupicut, who is the author of Blood Ink. And for those of you that are not familiar with Blood Ink, this is about a dystopian futuristic society where assassinations have been legalized. And their hacker actually wears the digital mask of a fox. So you've got to make sure you stick around and check that one out. I know you're going to love next week's episode. And you're going to love it even more because we have a special surprise. It might have to do with a fox. I'm just saying you should stay tuned. I'll tell you about it all there, girl. But next week's going to be good. You guys do not want to miss Loopy. Going to be lots of fun. Kelly Carnes, returning to you. I love it. I love the things. Okay. So tell me about your biggest cosplay success.
Grows out of a failure, actually. It was another example of working with a long distance designer who had my measurements and I trusted to get them right. And then it was a Hocus Pocus costume. Again, I was part of a group, so it had to be on point. I was Sarah Sanderson, had to meet my Mary and my Winnie at Dragon Con. And it arrived a week before Dragon Con and it did not fit at all. It was awful. It was way too big. Some of the colors were too pastel. It really looked like a little kid's princess costume rather than like a slutty, sassy witch. So it was a very different feel from what we were going for. And what I did was I went through my costume closet and just started, tearing through it to see if there are any pieces that I could modify or mix up to make things work. Like I said, I fancy myself a good curator. And then I went and did like a shopping spree last minute at the Ren Fair, which was that weekend. The first weekend of the Maryland Renaissance Fair is the weekend before Dragon Con. So I looted all the stores to see if I could find anything close. And something that I really like doing is I love to channel a character without necessarily replicating a character exactly. I know some people are purists, and my creativity comes into play when I can put a piece together that really like channels the spirit of that character so much you still recognize them, and you can even recognize them as you, but it's not exactly screen accurate. So I ended up pulling all these pieces together, from like a purple fairy bodice to a couple of layered pink and green skirts and some just like purple mesh gloves I got off of Amazon. And somehow I pulled it all together, and it was totally on point. Everybody recognized her. She looked great with the three. That was probably like one of our best group cosplays ever. And it was very validating after that much stress to have people still, shouting her quotes at me walking down the street. So amok, 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 and all of that, which is always one of your favorite parts of being in cosplay, right, is to be recognized as that character and for your ability to bring that character to life. So that was a really satisfying result and reward to the end of a stressful week.
I imagine so. That is quite the task. And that actually brings us to a great question. Tiffy wrote in and said, have you ever been asked to talk like your character while you're in a cosplay? Because some of these are so easily recognizable. So has this happened to you, and have you been able to pull off those voices? Kelly?
Oh, yeah, sure. Quotes, body language and movement. You know how the three Hocus Pocus sisters get together and we were asked to do that constantly for video, whether it was just people filming on their cell phones or professional videographers that were there. There was amok, 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 and smacking each other in the stomach. Yeah, acting out little bits and stuff. Like the performance element that comes into play is really, really fun, and I think a unique part of cosplay as an art form.
I love it. Foxplay, how about you?
Absolutely. I do compete a lot in costume contests, and so when I'm doing that, I try to channel the character, especially because I really want to put off the personality in the air. Sometimes I'll try the voices depending on who it is. But yeah, I love doing that. It's really fun.
That's awesome. Torie, I know you're newer to the cosplay world, but you have been to cons before. So tell me, have you ever been asked to talk like your character?
Yes, actually, when I went to Fan Expo as Elizabeth Leones, a lot of people know her, even though her outfit's this kind of, I almost want to say slutty, and it's due to one of the other characters in the anime. But she always has like this sweet, innocent voice. And I met other Elizabeths and other characters from that anime. They're all like, can you do her voice? Can you do her voice? I was like, of course I can do her voice. So she has like this really high pitched voice, and I love it so much. So yeah, I have. I haven't worn my Bakugo cosplay out in public yet, but I'm excited to go.
That's awesome. I love it. We've also got another question Tiffy wrote in. She says, what was the biggest cosplay event that you've been to? So Foxplay, let's start with you.
I would say probably Hallmat in Florida. We've been going for 2 years. It's a beautiful convention that is holiday themed in December at the Marriott Orlando World Center right across from Disney. And it is massive. Like it is humongous. There's something to do. There's so many things to do and see, and so many people, and it's wonderful, and everybody's in a good mood because of the holidays. So it's really, really fun.
That's awesome. I love it. Kelly, how about you?
Probably Dragon Con and it's growing so quickly. The first year I went was 2014. There was about 50,000 people there, and this past year there was 90,000. So I would say that's the biggest singular event. I did go to 12 conventions last year to bring the news about Trove to the masses. So we got a lot of cosplay and convention time in last year. And there are 1,400 conventions across North America all year long. So I got plenty to go.
Wow. I did not realize that. That's really cool. I really just need to kind of follow you around to conventions because you know all the good ones.
Come on over.
I'm just gonna be your groupie from now on. Torie, how about you? We know you got to go to your first con recently. Remind us what that was.
My first con was back in August. It was called Fan Expo Boston, and it wasn't necessarily, I want to say, anime or like artist based. Like, it was a lot of different things. It was like movies and all like these video games and all that stuff. So it was a big group of everything. I did plan on going to Anime Boston this year, but unfortunately that was canceled due to everything going on. But I plan on going to Fan Expo if it's still on later this year. So, and I have to say, again, it was a lot of fun. And I think one of the cool things about cons, I don't know if they do it at any of the ones you go to, is that they have this poster up called "Cosplay is not consent." And I absolutely love that. I was like, that's a good thing to put out there, even though it should be an unspoken rule.
I highly agree. I love that we are putting more of a focus on that right now as well to make sure everybody is safe and protected, which we absolutely love. For me, I've been to a number of cons now as a signing author, but last fall, I got to go for the very first time to New York Comic-Con. It was so much fun. I got to meet the voices of some Disney princesses and all sorts of fun, fabulous things. If you guys have not checked out my author platform, I talked all about it over there. But it was so much fun, and I cannot wait to do it again. But that brings me to my next question, ladies. For your upcoming events, or maybe just because it could be fun, if you had no price tag, if you had no talent restrictions, if you could do whatever, however, who would you love to cosplay next? Foxplay, let's go with you first.
Oh, so if any of y'all are, if y'all watch Fairy Tale, the series, the anime, Urza Scarlet has all these different requips of armor, and she has so many that are so just awesome. So if I had no price limit and I had just everything, all the time in the world and I could do it, probably, definitely, I would try to make all of her larger armor pieces, adamantine, Blackwing, Purgatory. She has so many. I mean, it's just phenomenal, like the character designs and the humongous, it's big armor builds, and I love that. It's so exciting.
That's awesome. Torie, what about you?
I don't know. There's a lot of characters I do plan on. I think I'll go with the next cosplay I plan on getting, and it's the main character from Vampire Night. I don't know if any of you've ever watched it. Her name's Yuki. I absolutely love her. I want to get, one of the things I can't find is, if you know it, her Artemis staff, and it's like full thing, like the whole, I forget what it's called. It's kind of like a Reaper staff. I forget what it's called. But it's like this whole thing, and like I can't find one out there anywhere. So if I had the time and the money, I'd probably create one myself.
That's awesome. I love it. I love that we're all taking like such different avenues with this as well. Kelly, so for you, if you could cosplay anything in the entire world, no time, no money restrictions, no talent restrictions, what would you do?
I had to bust out my phone because I keep a running list, and I wanted to try to limit my choices.
Okay.
Because this show is not long enough for my list. I do say a lot. My go-to answer is I've always wanted to do a Medusa, but I refuse to do it until I can find like the best wig engineer in the whole world to get me like mechanically moving snakes. And then also like black lights in it so that I can put black light responsive paint over my eyes and like freeze people and then talk my husband into being my statue. So that might be the most complex one. But then I have a laundry list for days of other things that I want to do, including I want to do just a themed convention weekend of using this nude bodysuit that I have for everything. I went as Cersei in the Shame episode of Game of Thrones a couple of years ago, and I walked around Dragon Con with my friend's husband as the nun, like shaking the bell and yelling "Shame!" And it was so comfortable to be in that nude bodysuit and nothing else. After usually wearing like itchy wigs and corsets where I couldn't breathe, I was like, I got to figure this out, like how to work in more of this nude bodysuit cosplay. So now I want to do like Gollum from Lord of the Rings, and I want to be a wish troll, those trolls from the 90s with like a jeweled belly button. I want to be like, I want to do like a, what's his name from Jurassic Park, where he's laying on the table with his shirt open. Jeff Goldblum. So someone can wheel me in on the table and I can just be laying there with the nude bodysuit, my shirt open. I got a lot to do.
You got ideas. Yeah. That's okay, because you've got thousands of cons to go to this year, so.
Yes, correct.
That's awesome. We had a question come in. Have you ever had an author, an artist, or an actor comment on your cosplay, and did you fangirl? Oh, Kelly has. Okay, Kelly.
Oh, yeah. Last year we did a group cosplay as Letterkenny, and so we had a whole group of people that were Skids and Wayne and his crew, and we were out in a parking lot breakdancing on cardboard boxes, and we had one of the Letterkenny Skids, the guy who plays Raoul, comment when we posted that he loved it, and that was so exciting for us.
That's awesome. Foxplay, how about you?
I actually went to a convention in my home state, and the voice actor for Vegeta, Chris Sabat, was there. And I dressed up as Bulma, and when he spotted me in line, he yelled my Bulma in Vegeta's voice, and I was like, oh my god, Senpai noticed me. And I was like fangirling so hard because I was so excited.
That's so funny. I love it. Torie, so I know you're brand new to this. Has this happened? And if not, who would you love to have pay attention to your cosplay?
No, it has not happened to me, unfortunately, but not necessarily any creators of the cosplay I have, but there's this one person, I've been following her for so long. I love her. She's an amazing cosplayer. She just everything. She has her own YouTube, own Instagram, again, her own TikTok. Amazing cosplay. And if I ever got together with her, I would absolutely die.
That's so funny. I love it. I love it. All right. We have a couple minutes left, guys. If you've got questions, now is the time to drop those for us. Get those in right now because we would love to get those answered for you. Ladies, I need to know, before we jump into letting everybody know where we can find you online, I have to ask, as people who are in the cosplay world, some of you have been there for a very long time, some of you are brand new, what is your best piece of advice for people who are jumping into the cosplay world? Oh, I know. That's a tough one. That's a tough one. Anybody got an answer before I call somebody out?
I'll go.
Yes.
I have so many little tidbits of advice, but I think my most important one is to make sure that you are having fun. That's what this hobby is about. It's about having fun, feeling good. It's no need to stress over it. Don't stress yourself out. Don't be upset. Don't listen to the drama. Just have fun cosplaying and going to conventions. That's what it's about. Because in the end, we're all people dressing up like cartoon characters to have fun. So have fun with it.
I love it. Torie.
I think one of the most important things is to your cosplay doesn't have to be the best. Because I know personally your cosplay does not have to be the best. You dress however you want for your character. It's okay if you don't get recognized. Because at Fan Expo, I was one of the very few people dressed as that character, which again is okay. And your cosplay does not have to be the best. As long as, again, you're having fun and whoever you're with is having fun, then it doesn't matter.
Love it. Kelly, best advice.
I can't hear my colleagues on the call, so I apologize if this is redundant, but if it is, that means it's even better advice, right?
Exactly.
Coming to you from multiple sources. So I would say be gentle with yourself. You're allowed to cosplay whatever you want. Doesn't matter what your body looks like. Doesn't matter what color you are, what gender you are. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if you buy it. Doesn't matter if you make it. Doesn't matter if you rent it. It can be casual. It can be expensive. It can be custom. It can be abound. You can do whatever you want. And there are cosplay snobs out there who will try to make you feel not your best self. But I promise you, they are in the minority. The rest of us, the majority of us, are all here to celebrate costume play and are here to support each other. So you're going to find many more people who want to show you love. Do whatever you want and be gentle with yourself.
That's the way. I love it. I love it. Guys, if you're having fun, make sure you let your friends know that we are here hanging out, and make sure you hit the subscribe and notification bell, because we're dropping brand new videos every Tuesday and Friday, every time there's breaking Toon World news. And we've got our talk show every single Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern right here on the talk show. In fact, next week we are going to be hanging out with Loopy from Blood Inc. I am so excited for this one, so hit that subscribe and notification bell so that you do not miss out, because big things are coming on the Toon Ladies talk show. And we're doing all sorts of fun things. Speaking of fun things, a little shout out. If you are a webtoon author, we're planning a virtual con for you guys. We're planning a virtual con for you fans, because we're all in lockdown right now and we need something entertaining to do, and I got you. And so behind the scenes, the last couple of days, I have been orchestrating a free virtual convention, but I'm not done organizing it yet. So if you're an author, an artist, somebody connected to the Toon world, please hit me up, DM me. I will send you a top secret link with information about this virtual convention. And then for you fans, we're going to be breaking that news to you in the next couple of days. So make sure you stay tuned, because big things are coming. Speaking of really cool big things that are coming, but also currently out, Kelly Carnes, I want to talk to you for a minute, because girlfriend, you have our back when it comes to creating your next cosplay. So tell us all about Trove Costume.
Yeah, Trove Costumes just launched this year at DragonCon. You can check it out, www.trovecostumes.com, and you can find us on Instagram, of course, at Trove Costumes. We are here to help cosplayers make money on the cosplay that they're not wearing, and we're here to help other cosplayers save money on the costumes they want to wear, so costume play can be more accessible to all. And it's also much nicer for the environment if we're exchanging these things and sharing these things rather than creating waste. So it's just a better system for everybody. Everybody wins when they use Trove.
And I love it. I've seen your website. I've seen your costume closet. Like, they
want to see it?
Yes, show us your costume closet.
We're in the costume closet now. We've got about 500 pieces on the site so far, and it's growing each day. I'm taking the time we have right now, the extra time we are spending quarantined at home, to catch up on my listing. So as you can see, I was just about to photograph this Viserys from Game of Thrones that was made by a costume maker and designer at the VCU fashion school. I talked about my Poison Ivy earlier. There's her wig. It's from one of my favorite pieces. And I also talked about how I wasn't happy with this witch hat, but I really did a tour, I promise, of all of the witch hats in existence and couldn't find quite the right one. So obviously we have to work on building out the witch hat collection as well as everything else. So those are just some of the pieces from my collection, but obviously the point is to build inventory from everybody so that we've got different sizes and different fandoms and different styles and different price points represented. So you can go on the site and you can search by your size or your price or even your location, because one of the nifty things too is that there's this pickup and delivery option. So if something is bulky, it's hard to ship, it's expensive, it's fragile, you can meet up with that person instead. And I've already heard a couple of cute stories about people meeting up who realize they're the same size and they love the same stuff. So they continue to exchange. Sometimes they go to conventions or Renaissance fairs together. So it's just a great way to community build as well.
That's awesome. Tiffany is in the comments and she says, do cosplayers make these costumes or do you?
So it's peer-to-peer based. So it's kind of like how Airbnb works, where we're just the platform and we're allowing exchange between two people. So it's cosplayers renting to cosplayers. I just happen to be a cosplayer myself, so I'm my own best customer, right? We call the company Cosplay Native in that way, because since I'm a cosplayer, I tried to build it for the needs of the cosplayers that I know and source. We do have an advisory group called the Cos Squad. and they kind of bring things to my attention, needs of the community that we could be responsive to. In fact, one of them right now is helping me gather people who are makers that can sew medical masks so that we can create more masks for the medical facilities that are running out of them so quickly during this crisis. So not exactly costume related, but a way that we can use the community that we've built to have a positive impact.
I love it. I love it. So remind us, where can we find you and Trove Costumes online?
Yep, you can go to trovecostumes.com or find us on Instagram at Trove Costumes. And you can find me there too. I'm on Instagram at Kelly Carnes. And my Facebook page is open. I'm very inclusive, very welcoming. I want to be friends. I'm extra extroverted. So you can find me just by searching for Kelly Carnes on Facebook too. I'm always happy to take feedback and ideas and help you navigate the site too if it's your first time and you want to check it out.
I love it. And I know from personal experience, Kelly's the best at everything. So go ahead.
I paid her a lot to say that.
She didn't, but I would accept the money. I'll accept a costume. Let's do that.
Venmo.
We know how this works. Lauren, where can everybody find you online?
So I have Instagram. It is called TE Dunham with an O instead of an A. You know what I mean? And you can also find me on TikTok at Arden Cos, standing for Arden Cosplay. Trying to think. I don't usually use Twitter, or Facebook's more personal for me, so that's about it. That's all I got.
Beautiful. And I didn't know you had a TikTok, so now I'm going to go stalk you.
You'll find all my Bakugo cosplay stuff there, too, if you want to take a sneak peek at my Bakugo cosplay.
Love it. Love it. Foxplay, talk to me. What do we need to know about you, and where can we find you?
On all my social media, I'm Foxplay Cosplay, and I have an Instagram where I am most active, and then I have a Facebook page, a TikTok, and a Twitter. And I'm always down to chat, talk about shows, comics, cosplay. Yeah, I love making new friends too.
And I love your Instagram page because you aren't just Persephone from Lore Olympus. You got some of the others too. Your mint is probably my absolute favorite.
Oh, thank you.
I love that. So I'm just saying we're gonna have to have you guys back in different costumes. I feel like we'll just can every couple months we'll just do a cosplay and we'll just have you girls back and we'll do all it'll be amazing. But I am so grateful for you guys hanging out with me today. Thank you so much for coming and talking all about cosplay, the webtoon world. I appreciate each and every one of you being here, and I cannot wait to chat with you all again. And for those of you watching, we have big things coming. Big things. We are going to be hanging out with some of the most amazing people in this industry. We have, in the next couple of weeks, we're going to be chatting with Lubicut of Blood Inc. We're going to be talking with Webtoon Canvas authors. We've got 3 of them coming on the show in 2 weeks. We have Marissa and Anne of The Shadow Prophet. After that, we actually have Philo Barnhart, who is a Disney animator who created The Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, Secret of NIMH, all sorts of amazing movies that we all grew up with. He actually voiced some of these characters too. You guys are going to love this man. And then we've got Miranda Munt of Muted. We've got all sorts of amazing people coming on the show. And like I said, I may be planning a little something special, a little something extra for you. So make sure you hit that subscribe and notification bell so that you do not miss out. It is going to be all kinds of fun. We drop brand new videos every Tuesday and Friday. We are dropping brand new breaking Toon World news as it happens, so you don't want to miss out. We've got our Toon Ladies Talk Show every single Sunday right here on YouTube live at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and our podcast drops every single Thursday everywhere podcasts are streaming, including iTunes and Spotify. We're hanging out with the authors, the artists, the amazing celebrities within the Toon world, and you do not want to miss out on all of the fun. Plus, we're doing bonus content on our social media, so look us up at Toon Ladies because we are doing all kinds of daily chats. We've got great conversations going. We've got polls. You guys voted on what cosplay I'm doing next week. Boy, do I have a list from you guys. I'm really excited because we're going to be doing amazing things. They're loving on our cosplays in the comments. They're just coming in right now. This is awesome. I love it, guys. But we've got a lot planned for the next couple of weeks, and we can't wait to see you there. So thanks, guys, so much for joining us. Hit the subscribe and notification bell, and we will see you again in the next episode of Toon Ladies as we hang out with my new BFF, Loopy of Blood Inc. We've been hanging out, doing some fun things, and like I said, we got a special surprise for you next week. It is nothing like you expect, and it is going to be so dang good. Hit the subscribe and notification bell. We will see you again next week. Until then, stay safe, everybody. Have a wonderful evening, and stay inspired. Bye.
Bye.